Welcome back everyone to the Working Class Revolt, and before I talk about today's story and the fantastic news again for the UK Reform Party, can I first of all give everyone a massive thank you. We've only had this channel going a couple of months and already we've just hit 1,000 subscribers and we're getting hundreds of comments and likes on our video, and some of them are people unhappy with my views on things, but it's still fantastic. It's creating a conversation, which is why this channel is set up. And today, as mentioned, I want to talk about great news for the Reform UK Party. Not only have they been winning by-elections up and down the country in council seats, they've now got independent and conservative councillors flocking over to the Reform Party and will be standing at this May's local elections as Reform candidates. And I want to show you a clip of Nigel Farage calling on all 1,300 Conservative councillors up for election to join his army at the Reform UK Party. Please take a look.
We have the English County Council elections. It'll be the first big, genuinely national campaign from Reform UK, and we are throwing the kitchen sink at it. But there are 1,352 Conservative county councillors out there whose seats are up for grabs next time round. Interestingly, a huge number of them genuinely agree with us and what we stand for. You see, the Conservative Party in the country is very different to the Conservative Party in Westminster. So I'm about to send a letter to all 1,352 of them to say, look, we are standing in every single seat in the English county elections. We will not be standing aside for absolutely anybody. You know in your heart of hearts that this is 4 years on from peak Boris when the Conservative Party was doing well. And you know that the vast majority of you are going to lose your seats. But before I select the candidates, and our branches will be picking these by the end of November, before we get the campaign into full swing, I want to give those county councillors who really believe in the country, who understand and know that things need to be turned around because we're in such a state of decline, I want to give them the opportunity to come and join us and stand for Reform UK. I think it's the right and decent.
So there we see Nigel Farage doing an open letter asking for 1,300 Conservative councillors, if you share the Reform's values and you're not a troublemaker, you're not going to bring trouble to the Reform Party, he wants you to come and join the Reform Party and stand as Reform candidates. So please let me know what you think of that. If you're a Reform voter, that I think the majority of people who watch this channel are, do you want hundreds of influx of Conservative councillors? Will they share the views that you share, or will it just become another branch of the Conservative Party? I think a mixture is good. I wouldn't like to see the Reform Party become just Conservatives, because the Reform Party has a lot of support in areas like this, in Wigan, up here in the north, where I live and where I'm a councillor. And I can say this, that the majority of people don't like the Conservative Party. So I don't think if they saw the Reform Party as purely just like the Conservatives, it would do well up here. But having a good mixture of Conservative councillors, I don't think Labour councillors would ever join the Reform Party. They are very tribal in supporting the party, no matter what they do. And we've seen that recently with the winter fuel cuts. Votes have been going on in councils up and down the country where independents and Conservatives have been asking their full councils to write to the government and being outvoted by Labour, who want to keep it exactly the same and pensioners not get the winter fuel payment. So I think Farage would be wasting his time sending letters to the Labour Party, but certainly I think he will get a good response from the Conservative Party. And very interestingly, 3 Conservative councillors have just defected to the Reform UK Party, and 2 of which are from Scotland. And the reason that's great news for Reform is because back in the UKIP days when Farage was leader, they couldn't do well up in Scotland. They just couldn't seem to make any headways in Scotland. But the Reform UK Party, which to me is seen as far more professional, I think a lot of the early days of Farage, he's learnt from some of the mistakes of having to run a party, and this time the Reform Party, to me, is coming across professional, and it's winning votes up and down the country everywhere, including Scotland, and it's doing very well in Wales. So that's Reform candidates independent candidates, and of course, Reform Party is now setting up branches up and down the country where I think it will win hundreds and hundreds of seats. But please let me know your thoughts on what you think will happen at the upcoming elections in May. Do you think that the Reform Party will absolutely storm it? I'm going to make a prediction closer to the time, but I think it's actually possible that the Reform UK Party could win the popular vote at a local election. And I'll tell you why I said that. So normally with fringe parties, parties that are like upcoming, or they have one issue like UKIP did, they do very, very well coming up to a general election because they get the publicity they don't normally get. But what you're seeing now is that since the general election, the Reform Party have done the opposite of what UKIP did, and they have gone up and up in the polls. Some polls even having them as high as 21, 22%, which is 7-8% higher than they got at the general election. We've seen them win by-elections off the Labour Party, because that's where I think Reform UK's direction will go now. It will attack these working northern areas which have always been Labour, but people like myself are sick and tired of the Labour Party, and the Labour Party has gone far too to the left for normal everyday people, and a lot of those people, as I mentioned, won't vote the Conservatives, but they damn sure will vote the Reform Party. So you're seeing the Reform Party on the rise week on week, more good news, and now with channels like Talk TV and GB News, there is news channels there that will actually cover what they're doing. And Farage is such a big personality now, he owns shares in GB News, he's a presenter on GB News. Believe me, they are going absolutely nowhere. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.